Hi, you're watching Norfolk Cable TV. I'm Anne-Marie Battistone. This is the Bead Show. I'm going to do a two-part show. I wanted to first talk about materials and tools, give you the name of a few stores that I like to use, and then I have to remake, well, at least one of these has to be redone. We didn't do a very good job the first time. So I thought and I'm going to do that during the second show. So I thought I'd start out by showing you some things that I've made, and it's not all bragging rights because I'll show you what I did wrong on a number of these. That and some mistakes you can kind of you just live with them, some you don't. For example, now the problem with this necklace is that I thought, where I had such large beads, that I could use these little crystals here at the end and they wouldn't be digging into my neck, but that isn't the way it worked. And I also screwed this up here, as you can see. I don't know what the heck happened. And so this is all just kind of a mess. So this necklace, I've hardly worn this ever for the discomfort, and also I'm very, very much unhappy with the way this is. Maybe you can see a little bit better here, the way these endings were done. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the next half hour. This is blue lace agate, which is, I don't know, one of my favorite stones. You can't often find it too easily. I've got silver bead caps on here. These are the bead caps, and in there is a Swarovski crystal in between. And this is one of those striated, well, agate often has striations in it. And this one is just, they call it blue lace because it has such a fine, I don't know if it's possible to get any closer to see some of the detail on those beads. And there we go, very good. There you can see it. And I don't wear this necklace. I don't know why. Something about it that, I don't know if it's the length. I have a plan for that. I'll talk about that in a minute. Well, let me tell you. This is a clock key that I bought at one of my other very most favorite stores, which is the commodities market in Wrentham, and on 140 as it comes into 1A, right there in the center of Wrentham. And my thought was that I was going to take this apart and put this at the bottom here and make this a charm at the bottom of this. So we'll see, we'll see how that works out, and have the two sides coming up. One of the things that I like to do, if we can just talk about design for a moment, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I sort of really like to, and I think it's very interesting to use complementary colors. That would be, for example, say orange and green, purple and yellow. And I think that makes, I hate that word pop everybody uses. Hot and pop, that's all you ever hear people talk about anymore. But it does really, really make for something interesting to look at. Now, this is 4 strands, and in this one, I have lapis, I have pearls, I have Heishi pearls, which are these rough ones, and freshwater pearls. This is crystal. This is opalite. I have amethyst and yellow glass. Those would be complementary colors, the yellow and the purple. Peridot, more amethyst. These are obviously amethyst beads. And I think that's it. And I've since I have the multiple strands, what you do in this case, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, is you fit them into a little cap. And all the strands, I don't know if you can see that, but there it goes. All the little strands go into a cap. They're tied up in there, and then they're covered. This was a little tricky. I got to be honest with you. I had a tough time with this. And you know, this could use a polishing. I've got about 6 or 7 of these. This is called a sunshine polishing cloth. And this is the best polishing cloth that I've ever used, and I can tell you where to get one. There's a woman who lives in Norfolk, not far from me, who owns a shop on 1A in Walpole. It's called Beading. There we go. That's a little more like it. And she has quite a good selection. I would say she has really an excellent selection of findings. And by findings, I mean things like this, the clasps, the chain, the little beads, the little crimp covers, the crimps. All right, now this is, going back over here, this is called apple agate, and I bought this in Santa Fe. It's kind of an odd bracelet, I'll admit, but I really liked the stone, and I thought it was kind of, that's a good shot, very good. I thought it was kind of cool looking as a bracelet. So, but I confess I don't wear it very often. It's a little bit of an odd color too, but I just couldn't pass up the way the beads were cut. Now this was this is, well, all right, let me tell you about this. This is glass pearl here. I like to do this. I like to add on my necklaces or the bracelets. I like to add a little thing on the clasp that just sort of shows at the back. It's just sort of an extra. Now, this is tarnished. You know, I'm no chemist, but there's silver, there's sterling silver and there's sterling silver, and it all has to do with what the alloy is. It's supposed to be 925 parts to 1,000 of sterling, of pure silver, rather, I should say. But depending upon what they use as the alloy, it can have a whiter color or more of a yellowish color. Now, I just polished this one. See this? Now this comes up very nicely, but it tarnishes really fast. There's a designer, Robert Lee Morse, who has a very white, beautiful white silver that he works in. And I got a lot of these beads at the bead show that is held twice a year in Marlborough. And it's out at a big, sort of one of these big convention places. And when you go in, there's, you know, the beads are sold in hanks. I mean, they're in big strings, and the strings are grouped into hanks. And it's huge. You look as far as you can see, there are tables covered with these hanks of beads. Now, just about everybody working there is Asian or subcontinent Indian. If you see anybody who's European, they're Russian, and that's just the way it is. And you know, you need to find somebody that you trust. Now, when I bought these, as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you something else right now. When I bought these, now these are not sterling. They were sold as sterling. I don't believe they're sterling. This is another one that's going to have to be redone. This is glass. And this, I believe, is called, this is not lamp work. I'm not sure what this is called. I used to know Swarovski crystal, sterling rondelles. But this, I mean, this barely polishes up, and it just looks terrible. And so this is another, and as you can see, I mean, I am getting the tarnish off, but it shouldn't get this dark. And as you can see, of course, it comes off on your fingers. If you've ever, you know, if you ever met anybody who does soldering and really works with jewelry, you see their fingers are all black from the solder and the tarnish. So I just feel like, I don't remember who sold this to me, but I certainly wouldn't go back to them. This is opalite. This is glass. This is glass. sometimes people say this is quartz crystal. I don't think this is natural quartz crystal. I don't think it's lab created because there's no flaw in it, and so it would have been very expensive to buy, and I don't recall. All right, this, let's see, what else we have here. All right, this is not silver, or I should say this is not sterling. There is silver in this metal, and it's called glister. I thought these leaves were kind of cool. So what I did here, like I said, I like to have contrast, so I did a shiny stone with a matte. And I think this is probably onyx, and I assume this is glass. But this is, I think it's called glister. It's something like that, and it's okay. It wouldn't fool me as being silver. It might fool somebody. It wouldn't fool me, but it's okay. I don't think it looks bad. And, these would have been extremely, extremely expensive in silver. In fact, a lot of designers are going into bronze, which I think is horrible. I don't think it looks, colored gemstones look well with the bronze at all. Nicky Butler, I don't have anything on by him, but he, who had always worked in silver, he's working in bronze, so it's affordable. I don't know, I guess sometimes it's better just to pass on something if it's going to look terrible. This is Picasso jasper. I've also heard it called zebra, but I think Picasso makes more sense to me if you think about Picasso's pencil drawings, these line drawings. And this is probably onyx or black agate. I believe onyx is cheaper, so it might very well be onyx. And this is like one of my favorite necklaces. I've never gotten any compliments on this, so I think people probably think it's really weird. This is pyrite and pearl. And I just like the juxtaposition of the textures on this. I think that marcasite is made from this. Marcasite was very big in the Victorian era. They was supposed to give the effect of diamonds, and it's a very high polished black little stone that's glued onto jewelry. It can't be put into water, and I'm pretty sure that it comes from this pyrite. Well, pyrite was also called fool's gold, because people thought they had found gold. And in there is a little aurora borealis Swarovski crystal. And aurora borealis means that I might have another one here somewhere. It means that it's coated and it kind of sparkles in different colors. You might see red and blue and green on top of the color of the actual crystal. Here's this is mucaite with silver rondelles. This was very, very popular last year. This stone, mucaite. I assume. Named after the founder. There's a very, very rare stone called morganite. It's a gemstone, and it was named after J.P. Morgan, who had financed the expedition to find this stone in Africa. So the names come from different places. Now this one here, I was talking to you about colors, complementary colors. That's what I tried to do here. I have the green, the yellow Swarovski crystal. I'm sorry, the yellow Swarovski, and then I have the purple Swarovski crystal here. There's turquoise in this, and I have to say I do not know what this stone is here. This up here at the end was a little bit of extra. I can't think of the name of it. I can't think of it. It's a green stone that has striations in it, and maybe I'll think of it before this is over. All righty. Let's see if there's anything else of note. This is, these are called lamp work beads, and there's a woman who has a store online, and the name of the business is Grace Lamp Works. And she makes these beautiful, beautiful beads. And sometimes they go on sale. If she has just a few left, she'll put them on sale. That's black Swarovski crystal, either onyx or black agate, and of course pearl. with that. Now, the other thing that I like to do that when you get started, making your necklaces is what you can do is, now this is not silver. This is just base metal. And I like to put this as an extension, and then just to dress it up, I add a little stone on the end so that will kind of hang down the back. There you can see it. So here's the... Now, how can you tell when you're going bead shopping if something is a real stone? Well, a stone will pick up the ambient temperature, the temperature of the room where it is. So when you go to pick up something, wherever you are, and you go and you sort of squeeze it, if it feels cold or if it feels hot, it's stone. If it doesn't, it's plastic. The other thing is, this is going to sound crazy, but base metal has a smell. Silver does not have a smell, and gold does not have a smell. Needless to say, platinum does not have a smell. But base metal has a smell to it. So when you, let's see what else is here. It's pretty subtle. It's the iron, I think, that you're smelling. But some base metals really have a very strong smell, and I don't think I have anything here. Now these are not really. But if you're ever off somewhere, yeah, it's a little bit strong. This is also a key. This also came from the commodities market. This is a clock key. No, this is not a clock key. I'm sorry. This is a regular key. The clock keys don't have the they don't have whatever this is called. I don't know what they call these. The little this little piece here that fits into the lock. But I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with these. Maybe I might just put these on some black ribbon. All right, now let me talk about tools. Okay, I'm just going to start. Before we start talking about, let me do the tools first before we talk about a wire and that sort of thing. All right, the Beadsmith makes very good tools. It's a brand. You can get that over at the Bead Addiction. Oh, and let me before I forget, let me reference a couple of other stores. There's a place called the Bead Cache, C-A-C-H-E, which Cache is like a hiding place, that's in Mansfield. Now his stock is more high-end than what's at Bead Addiction. I mean, he has some of the things that are the same that she has, but you can get higher quality stuff there that I don't feel is that Lydia tends to sell at the Walpole store. The other place is Sarah, S-A-R-A, and I think it's P-A-A-N. She's a Thai woman. I insisted on using her name, even though I imagine a lot of people don't know how to spell the name of the store. And that's over in Franklin, in the center of Franklin on Route 140. And they have quite a lot of nice stuff, too. All right. Okay, if you're talking about your tools, this is essential. And not everybody has one of these, but you can buy these everywhere. And what this allows you to do, for example, is to go in and reach in and move something around in a small space. Now, as I'm doing here, now I had made this a little earlier. This is a type of loop that you would make, and I had used this, and I like this because you can hold it like you can use it this way, and you can go in, and I'll show you some other things that. When we do the next show, when we do the crimping and use the crimp covers, I mean, this is absolutely essential. This actually is, I believe this is actually an electrician's tool, but I think it's called the needle nose pliers. Again, you have this nice little, little sharp point here. I made a, well, I don't see it now. I don't know where it went. But I made a little wrap before I started with using this, and I'll have to make another one. It got away from me somehow. But it's very good for doing the wrappings, and then I'll show you that. Okay, this is a caliper. So if you're not sure that you're working with the same size of bead, you just pick it up like this. You pick your bead up, and you look and you see that this is 8 millimeters over here. This is 8 millimeters. This one is 4, and that's the way it works. Oops, and it and it works like this. And then oh, here it is. Honest to God, I don't know where that little wrapped. Well, that's, I don't know. Okay, another thing that you have to have is a crimper. The bead, and when you're finishing off your necklaces, there are little. Well, let me get one out and show you. Actually, this is I prefer this tweezer. Oh, get back here. I don't know how well you can see this. This is well, it might help if I held on to it. Let me put this in my, let me get a bigger one here. I don't know if it would be better if I put it down here, put a few of them down here. These are little tiny silver tubes, and the purpose of them is to mash down on the wire. You mash them with this, you crimp them with this, and you then cover it because it's going to be a flat, as a matter of fact, I don't think I have anything here to show you, or I didn't cover it. But if you don't, well, here, I'll just show you now. If you take this to crimp it, you know, I'll show you the next show. It'll be easier to see because I'll have it on a wire. It mashes it flat, and it has 4 sharp edges. So it has to be covered with a crimp cover, which is this little fellow here, which looks like a little elbow macaroni. And it goes around the crimp. It comes in different, the crimps come in different sizes, as do these. And when you're putting this on, you need this guy. All right. This cuts the wire. And this one is, this is also the Beadsmith. This says maximum cut 1.5 millimeter copper wire. And when you cut, you always, well, I'll do this right now. You always put your hand over it, cut, you put your hand over it, because that little piece of wire, which I guess you probably can't see, but it's there, will fly up and hit you. Or it'll go somewhere that you'll step on it and you'll go into your foot or what have you. So I'm just, I'm using one of my bead cases here to throw my, my waste in here so it won't. These are round-nosed pliers that you need to use to make your wraps, to make your loops. This loop that I showed you here, I used it for that. And the wrapped loop, which, as I said, I had made one here, but and it turned out very well too. So it's kind of, I don't know where that guy went, but. And let's see what else is. This is just another needle-nosed plier, a bigger one if you have something heavier to work with. These are in case you need to ream out a bead. Now, some of these beads, might not be drilled. And it's amazing to me how they drill these beads. But if the bead isn't really drilled real cleanly, this goes through and you just kind of swing it around in there, and it cleans up if there's any little burrs or little bumps in there. And this is kind of, this really isn't a reamer. This is, let's say if you had a wire somewhere that you needed to rub down, if you had a little sharp edge, you can take this because this has like a diamond. Well, it's not diamond, but it's a rough finish on it that will, as does this. Oh, absolutely essential when I've got some scrap wire here. This keeps your beads from sliding off. You've got to have these. You can usually get them 5 at a time, and I'll tell you, the first time that you've planned your work, I'm just putting these on at random here. And Now see, here's an example. Okay, here's an example. This, for some reason, these beads, I don't know whether they didn't drill them straight or what exactly happened, but it's hard to get into these particular beads. Let me see if this will help me out here, and I'm going to do it from both sides. But something catches in there, and it just slows you down. You know, this is not something you can do quickly. It takes me a long time that I look at the colors, the shapes, and you know, I might have something done and then, oh, there it goes. Okay, so there, all right, so this will keep your beads on your wire, otherwise they'll fly right off. There's one other thing that I didn't bring that a lot of people have, and it's a bead board. Mine is so dilapidated, it's a disgrace, and I decided not to bring it in here. But it's about the size of this, and it has a trough, so you can line up your beads and see how the necklace is going to look. It is also marked in inches, so you can see how. Now I do use it to measure, because then you can lay down what you've made and you see how long it is. What I don't like about it as far as planning your necklace is that you really need to see how those beads are going to fit together, and you don't see that on the board because the board is just a trough, so you can kind of look at your colors, but you can't really see how they're going to line up. And I guess lastly is this thing here, which keeps the beads from rolling around. And you can get this at all the bead stores. I know at the Bead Addiction, she has these already cut. And this is also really important because if you work on a flat surface, everything's going to roll and get away from you. You do need, if you really get into this, I mean, this is like a fraction of what I have at the house, but you know, you need your little boxes and to hold all your things. And I think, magazines. You know, you get an idea, you can look at them. This one, for example, has a page of basics where it shows you, here it is, shows you, no, this is not it. It shows you how to make the necklaces that they feature. But for my mind, then you've got to run around and try to get these pieces. I mean, it's just to give you an idea. But there is here we go. There's a page in here where they will show you, they'll show you how to do these different, you know, loops. And I got to tell you, it took me a long time to learn to do a wrap. Why it was so hard for me, I do not know why. But I did finally learn to do it. But they do, and these illustrations are pretty good. There's nothing like seeing somebody do it live, though. So we're in the next show, this is all for today. In the next show, I'm going to remake one of these necklaces, and you'll see me put the whole thing together. And that's it for today on the Beading Show. I hope you'll come for the next session.